Welcome back, dear friends and story lovers. Tonight we bring you a tale where love is tested, secrets come to light, and fate takes an unexpected turn. Every moment will pull you in deeper, and every choice could change everything. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and if this story touches your heart, subscribe, share it with someone who believes in true love, and hit the bell so you never miss the next chapter. Asterisk, the rain hammered against the coffee shop windows like bullets against glass. Emma Rose pressed her back against the brick wall outside, her breath coming in sharp bursts that turned to vapor in the October chill. Through the steamed glass, she could see Tyler's silhouette moving between tables, his camera bag swinging as he searched for her with the methodical patience of a hunter. 3 weeks. 3 weeks since she'd ended their relationship, and he still refused to accept it, was over. The restraining order meant nothing to him. The blocked phone numbers were useless when he could simply create new accounts. The changed locks on her apartment door hadn't stopped him from leaving flowers on her fire escape. Bouquet accompanied by photos he'd taken of her without permission. Emma's phone buzzed. Another text from an unknown number? "I can see you hiding, Emma. We belong together. You know this." Her hands shook as she deleted the message. The coffee shop felt like a trap now, Tyler's presence poisoning the warm sanctuary she'd once loved. She needed to move, but the street stretched before her like a gauntlet. Every shadow could hide him. Every reflection in the shop windows might reveal his face. The bell above the coffee shop door chimed. Emma's heart stopped. Tyler emerged into the rain, his dark eyes scanning the street with predatory focus. The camera around his neck caught the amber streetlight, and Emma knew he was already planning his next shot. Her terror. Her desperation. He collected her fear like others collected stamps. Emma, and her heels clicked against wet concrete as she darted between parked cars, using them as shields. The business district stretched ahead, its towering glass buildings reflecting fragments of neon and streetlights like a broken kaleidoscope. Office workers huddled under umbrellas, their faces buried in phones, oblivious to the woman fleeing through their midst. A glance over her shoulder confirmed her nightmare. Tyler followed, maintaining distance but never losing sight of her. The camera was in his hands now, and she could see the flash even through the rain. He was documenting her panic, turning her trauma into his twisted art. Emma's lungs burned. The rain had soaked through her coat, and her blouse clung to her skin like ice. She needed help. She needed salvation. He stood at the crosswalk. Like a statue carved from shadows and starlight, even in the storm, he commanded attention. The rain seemed to part around his perfectly tailored charcoal suit. His dark hair was slicked back, revealing a face that belonged on magazine covers or movie screens. Strong jaw, high cheekbones. And when he looked up from his phone, the most piercing blue eyes Emma had ever seen. Everything about him screamed power, money, control, the kind of man who owned boardrooms and bent the world to his will with nothing but a glance, the kind of man Tyler could never compete with. Emma didn't think. She couldn't afford to think. Tyler was less than 50 feet away, closing the distance with each second. The crosswalk signal blinked its final warnings. She walked straight up to the stranger. "I need your help," she said, her voice barely audible above the rain. "Please. My ex is following me, and I need him to believe you're with me. Just for a few minutes." The man's blue eyes flicked past her shoulder, instantly locating Tyler in the crowd. Something shifted in his expression. The polite mask of a businessman fell away, revealing something harder underneath, something almost predatory. "What's my name?" he asked, his voice deep and smooth like expensive whiskey. "Nathan," Emma whispered. The name felt right on her lips, strong and reliable, like the mountain of a man standing before her. "Perfect," he said, stepping closer. "I'm Nathan Cross." The crosswalk signal changed. Tyler was 20 feet away and closing fast. Emma could see the hunger in his eyes, the sick satisfaction of a hunter cornering his prey. She rose up on her tiptoes and kissed Nathan Cross. It was supposed to be quick, convincing but brief. A performance to drive Tyler away. Instead, the world stopped. Nathan's lips were warm against hers, soft and firm at the same time. His hand found her waist, steady and protective, while the other cupped her face with surprising gentleness. The kiss deepened naturally. Emma felt herself melting against his solid frame. For one perfect moment, she forgot about Tyler, forgot about the rain, forgot about everything except the man holding her like she was something precious and breakable. When they separated, both were breathing hard. Nathan's blue eyes had darkened to navy, and Emma could see her own shock reflected in them. Emma. Tyler's voice cut through the moment like a blade through silk. She turned to find him standing just feet away. His camera lowered, his face twisted with rage and disbelief. He looked smaller somehow, diminished by Nathan's presence. "Can we talk? Privately?" Tyler's words were controlled, but Emma caught the tremor underneath. "I think she's busy," Nathan replied before Emma could answer. His arm remained around her waist, possessive and protective. Tyler's grip tightened on his camera. "This doesn't concern you," Nathan smiled, "but there was ice in it. Actually, it does. Emma is with me now." The word now hung in the air like a promise and a threat. Emma looked up at Nathan, searching his face for some sign of what he was thinking. Was this still part of the act? Tyler stared at them for a long moment, his jaw working. Finally, he stepped back. "This isn't over, Emma." "Yes," Nathan said quietly, with absolute authority. It is. Something in his tone made Tyler reconsider whatever response he'd been planning. With one last furious glance, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd like smoke. Emma sagged against Nathan, adrenaline leaving her system in a rush. "Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what I would have done if Daunt." Nathan's voice was gentle but firm. "You don't owe me gratitude for being human." Emma looked up at him, really looked at him for the first time since their kiss. In the glow of the streetlight, she could see a thin scar above his left eyebrow. A small imperfection that somehow made his classical features more real, more touchable. "I'm Emma Rose," she said, suddenly aware they were still standing close together. "I gathered that—" Nathan's smile was warmer now, transforming his face from intimidating to almost approachable. "You're shaking." Emma looked down at her hands and realized he was right. The adrenaline crash was hitting her hard, and the rain had soaked her to the bone. "Coffee?" Nathan asked, checking his watch. An expensive piece that probably cost more than Emma made in 3 months. "There's a place around the corner." Emma hesitated. She didn't know anything about this man beyond his name and the fact that he'd just saved her from Tyler's obsession. He could be dangerous. He could be worse than Tyler. But when she looked into his blue eyes, she saw something that made her decision for her. Loneliness. The same bone-deep isolation that had been eating at her for months. "Yes," she said. "I'd like that." As they walked toward the warm glow of a small cafe, Emma felt Tyler's eyes on them from somewhere in the shadows. But for the first time in weeks, she wasn't afraid. She had no idea she should be terrified of the man beside her instead. The cafe was the kind of place Emma frequented, but Nathan clearly didn't. Mismatched furniture, local artwork on exposed brick walls, and the rich scent of coffee beans roasted on site. He looked like he'd stepped out of a boardroom and into someone else's life, his expensive suit a stark contrast to the bohemian atmosphere. Yet he moved through the space with easy confidence, pulling out her chair like he dined in places like this every day. When he ordered black coffee and started asking about her flower shop with genuine interest, Emma found herself relaxing for the first time in weeks. "Petals and dreams," Nathan repeated, his lips quirking upward. "I like it. Simple but evocative. My grandmother's name for it, actually. She left me the shop when she died 2 years ago." Emma wrapped her hands around her mug, savoring the warmth. "I was working in corporate marketing before that. Hated every second of it."
"What made you
hate it?" The question was simple, but something in Nathan's tone suggested he already knew the answer. Emma studied his face, noting the way his blue eyes never quite met hers directly, like he was cataloging information rather than having a conversation. The lies mostly, selling people things they didn't need, with promises we couldn't keep, making everything sound perfect when it was all just empty. Nathan's smile faltered for just a moment. Ah, a woman with principles. Dangerous trait in business, is it? Emma leaned forward. What business are you in, Nathan Cross? For the first time since they'd sat down, Nathan looked directly at her. His blue eyes were unreadable, but Emma caught something that might have been calculation flickering behind them. Acquisitions, he said finally. I buy things that other people want to sell. That's pretty vague. Most interesting work is... Emma was about to push for more details when her phone buzzed against the table. Another unknown number. Her stomach dropped as she read the message. Enjoying your coffee date, Emma? It's not who you think he is? Check the news. Nathan noticed her expression change immediately. Tyler. Emma nodded, showing him the screen. He's watching us somehow. How is he watching us? Nathan's jaw tightened as he read the message. Something cold and dangerous flickered across his features, gone so quickly Emma almost missed it. May I? He gestured toward her phone. Emma hesitated, then handed it over. Nathan's fingers flew across the screen with practiced efficiency, accessing settings she didn't even know existed. 3 different tracking apps, he said grimly. All hidden in your system updates. He's been monitoring everything. Your location, your calls, your messages. Nathan's voice carried an edge that made Emma shiver. This level of surveillance requires some technical skill. Tyler's a photographer, not a hacker. People can be more than one thing. Nathan deleted something from her phone, then deleted something else. There, you're clean now. Emma stared at him. How to do that? I told you. I'm in acquisitions. Information is just another commodity. Before Emma could process that unsettling statement, Nathan was standing. We should go. If he's watching, this place isn't safe. Go where? I can't hide forever. My apartment. It's secure. Emma blinked. I'm not going home with you. I don't even know you. You kissed me 20 minutes ago. That was different. That was survival. Nathan's smile was sharp-edged. So is this. Emma's phone buzzed again. This time it was a photo. Her and Nathan in the cafe, taken through the rain-streaked window. Tyler was close. Too close. Okay, she whispered. But just until I can figure out what to do. Nathan lived in a penthouse that occupied the entire top floor of one of downtown's most exclusive buildings. The elevator required a key card to even access his floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, and Emma could see her. Neighborhoods spread out far below like a circuit board. You're rich, she said, trying to process the casual luxury surrounding her. Observant. Nathan moved to a bar cart that probably cost more than her car. Drink? Just wine? Red, if you have it. Nathan poured 2 glasses of something that Emma was certain cost more than her monthly rent. The first sip confirmed it. What kind of acquisitions pay for all this? She asked, gesturing around the immaculate space. Nathan was quiet for a long moment, swirling the wine in his glass. The complicated kind. Emma was about to press him when she noticed the photographs lining one wall. Black and white portraits, all of them featuring the same woman. Dark hair. Sharp features. Beautiful in a cold, untouchable way. Who is she? Nathan's entire body went rigid. My sister. Something in his tone warned Emma not to ask more questions, but the photographs drew her closer. There had to be 20 of them, all professionally shot. It's all featuring the same woman at different ages. Child, teenager, young woman. But they stopped abruptly. The most recent couldn't have been taken more than 5 years ago. She's beautiful, Emma said carefully. She was. Nathan's voice was barely above a whisper. She died 3 years ago. Emma turned to face him. Nathan stood with his back to her, staring out at the city lights. His shoulders were set in a hard line, and she could see the tension radiating. Through his expensive suit, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Her name was Victoria. She was going to be a doctor. Nathan's reflection in the window looked haunted. She was killed by someone who claimed to love her. Someone who couldn't accept that she didn't love him back. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Tyler. Nathan's immediate understanding of the situation, his technical knowledge about tracking software, the predatory edge she'd glimpsed when he'd faced down Tyler on the street. "That's why you helped me," Emma said. "I reminded you of her." Nathan turned around, and Emma stepped back involuntarily. His blue eyes were no longer warm. They were arctic, empty. The eyes of a man who'd lost everything that mattered. "Reminded me of her," he confirmed. "But that's not why I'm helping you now." "Then why?" Nathan moved closer, closing the distance between them with predatory grace. "Because Tyler Romano isn't just some obsessed ex-boyfriend, Emma. He's a professional. Stalker. This is what he does. You're his 5th victim in 3 years." Emma's wine glass slipped from her numb fingers, shattering against the marble floor. "What?" "The other 4 women all ended up dead." The room spun around Emma. She gripped the back of a chair to stay upright. "You're lying. You have to be." "Lying." Nathan pulled out his phone and showed her a series of police reports, news articles, obituaries, for women, for cities, for tragic accidents involving obsessed ex-boyfriends named Tyler Romano. The police never connected them because he uses different last names, different cities, different cover stories, but the pattern is always the same. Charm them, photograph them, stalk them. When they try to leave, Emma couldn't breathe. "How do you know all this?" "Because Tyler Romano killed my sister. And I've been hunting him for 3 years. Nathan's words hit Emma like a physical blow. She sank into the chair, her mind racing. "You knew? When I approached you on the street, you knew who Tyler was. I've been tracking him for months. Knew he was in the city, knew he had a new target. I just didn't know it was you until tonight. So this whole thing, helping me, bringing me here, it was all just so you could get to Tyler." Nathan was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely audible. It started that way, and now. Nathan knelt in front of her chair, his hands covering hers. His touch was warm, real, but Emma could see the darkness swimming in his blue eyes. "Now I'm going to keep you alive, whatever it takes." Emma pulled her hands away. "By using me as bait, by ending this." Tonight, before Emma could ask what he meant, her phone rang. Tyler's name appeared on the screen, which should have been impossible since Nathan had supposedly cleaned her device. Nathan's smile was cold and sharp as a blade. "Answer it. It's time Tyler learned what happens when you hunt a hunter." Emma stared at the ringing phone, her heart hammering against her ribs. Everything she thought she knew had just crumbled. Tyler was a serial killer. Nathan was a vigilante. She was trapped between them with nowhere to run. The phone continued to ring, and Nathan's eyes never left her face. Emma's hand trembled as she reached for the phone. Nathan's eyes never left her face, and she could see something predatory stirring behind his blue gaze. "Answer it," he said again, his voice soft but commanding. "Put it on speaker." Emma swiped. "To accept the call." "Hello? Tyler? Emma? Sweetheart?" Tyler's voice was sickeningly gentle. "I hope you've enjoyed your little date with Nathan Cross. Did he tell you what he really does for a living?" Nathan's jaw clenched, but he remained silent. "I don't know what you mean," Emma said, though her eyes stayed locked on Nathan's face. Tyler's laugh was cold. "Check tomorrow's business section, Emma. Cross Industries just acquired Romano Photography. Your new boyfriend bought my company 6 months ago. He's been planning this for a very long time." Emma felt the blood drain from her face. "Nathan?" Nathan's expression remained unreadable, but something shifted in his posture. The casual confidence was gone, replaced by the coiled tension of a man caught in his own web. "It's complicated," he said quietly. "No, it's not." Tyler's voice crackled through the phone. "It's simple. Nathan Cross has been using you to get to me. The question is, Emma, what does he plan to do once he has what he wants?" Emma stood up slowly, backing away. "From Nathan? You bought Tyler's company? You've been planning this?" "Yes." Nathan didn't try to deny it. "But not the way Tyler's suggesting? Then how?" Emma's voice was rising. "How exactly does a grieving brother end up buying his sister's killer's photography business?" Nathan moved toward the window, his hands clasped behind his back. Grief makes people do stupid things, Emma, and love makes them do dangerous ones. Tyler's laughter echoed through the speaker. Tell her about the contract, Nathan. Tell her about the clause.
What clause?
Emma demanded. Nathan closed his eyes. When I bought Tyler's business, I included a personal services clause. He has to complete one final photography project before the sale is finalized. Emma felt sick. What kind of project? A portrait series, Tyler said, his voice dripping with malicious pleasure. Titled, The Last Dance, featuring you, Emma. Your final moments, captured for posterity. You bastard, Emma whispered. You've been planning my murder. Not murder, Nathan said sharply. Justice. Tyler would be caught in the act. The police would finally have their evidence. He'd go to prison where he belongs. With me as collateral damage. It wasn't supposed to work that way. Nathan turned to face her, and Emma saw something that might have been genuine anguish in his eyes. I was going to protect you, keep you safe, while building the case against him. By lying to me. By manipulating me. By giving you what Tyler could never have a chance to survive. Emma laughed, but there was no humor in it. And what was I supposed to do after you got your justice, Nathan? Thank you for using my life as bait in your revenge fantasy. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. I thought you'd be grateful to be alive. Tyler's voice cut through the tension like a knife. How touching. The hunter grows a conscience. But it's too late for second thoughts, Nathan. The game is already in motion. What do you mean, Emma asked. Check your flower shop, sweetheart. I left you a present. Emma's blood turned to ice. She grabbed Nathan's arm. We have to go. Now, but Nathan was already moving, pulling on his coat and grabbing keys from a dish by the door. Tyler, if you've hurt anyone, no one's hurt yet, Tyler interrupted. But the night is young. You have 1 hour to bring Emma to me, Nathan. The old warehouse district on 5th Street. Come alone, and I'll make it quick. Bring back up, and I'll make sure she suffers. The line went dead. Emma stared at the silent phone, her mind racing. Going to kill me no matter what happens. Isn't he? Not if I kill him first. Nathan's voice was flat, emotionless. Listen to yourself. You're talking about murder. I'm talking about ending this. Nathan grabbed her shoulders, his grip firm but not painful. Emma, Tyler, has killed 4 women. 4, he's not going to stop. He's not going to get better. He's not going to find Jesus or therapy or whatever fantasy you're clinging to. It's a predator, and the only way to stop a predator is to put him down. Emma jerked away from his touch. And what about you, Nathan? What happens after you get your revenge? Do you go back to your penthouse and your wine collection like nothing happened? I don't know. The honesty in his voice caught Emma off guard. For the first time since she'd learned the truth, Nathan sounded vulnerable. Human. You don't know, she repeated. I've spent 3 years planning Tyler's death. 3 years building my company, acquiring resources, learning everything there is to know about him. I never planned for what comes after. Emma studied his face. In the harsh lighting of his apartment, she could see exhaustion etched into his features, dark circles under his eyes, lines of stress around his mouth. Nathan Cross wasn't just rich and powerful. He was haunted. What was she like? Your sister? Nathan's composure cracked slightly. It's brilliant. Funny. She wanted to work in pediatric oncology because she couldn't stand the thought of children suffering. He ran a hand through his hair. She would have hated what I've become. Then don't become it. Emma moved closer to him. There has to be another way. Like what? Call the police? Tyler's covered his tracks too well. The evidence linking him to the other murders is circumstantial at best. He'll walk free and disappear, and next month there'll be another woman in another city. So we make sure he doesn't walk free. Nathan looked at her sharply. What are you suggesting? Emma's heart was pounding, but her voice was steady. I'm suggesting we give Tyler exactly what he wants. Final photo session, but not the kind he's planning. Want to go to that warehouse? I want to end this, Emma said. Not with more death. With justice. Real justice. Nathan shook his head. It's too dangerous. Tyler's been planning this for weeks. He'll have contingencies, escape routes, weapons. Then we'll have to be smarter than him. Emma met his eyes directly. You're not the only one who's lost someone to a monster, Nathan. You're not the only one who's tired of running. For a moment they stared at each other in silence. Then Nathan smiled, and for the first time it reached his eyes. You're going to get us both killed, Emma rose. Maybe we're going to save each other. Nathan checked his watch. 53 minutes until Tyler's deadline, and we better get moving. As they headed for the door, Emma caught a glimpse of herself in the hallway mirror. She looked different somehow. Harder, more determined. The woman staring back at her wasn't the same person who'd kissed a stranger in the rain. Less than 2 hours ago, that woman had been running from danger. This woman was about to run straight toward it. Nathan paused at the elevator, his hand on the call button. Emma, there's something else you need to know. What now? The warehouse Tyler chose. It's not random. It belongs to me. The warehouse squatted in the industrial district like a sleeping beast, its broken windows reflecting the neon glow of the city beyond. Emma could smell the river nearby, dark water carrying the scent of rust and decay. Nathan's hand was steady on her shoulder as they approached the building, but she could feel the tension radiating through his touch. Second thoughts? He asked quietly. Every second since we left your apartment. Emma checked her phone one more time. The recording app Nathan had installed was running. But we're past the point of turning back now. Nathan's warehouse was a maze of empty rooms and abandoned equipment. Their footsteps echoed off concrete floors, and Emma tried not to think about how many places Tyler could be hiding, how many angles he could shoot from, how many ways this could go wrong. He'll be in the main floor, Nathan said, his voice barely above a whisper. Maximum dramatic effect. Tyler always was a showman. They found him in the center of the warehouse, surrounded by photography equipment that transformed the empty space into a professional studio. Lights on stands, cameras at multiple angles, a chair positioned carefully in the center of it all, like an electric chair waiting for its victim. Tyler stood beside his setup with the casual confidence of a director on his set. He'd changed clothes since the cafe, trading his Stalker's uniform of jeans and camera bag for an expensive black suit. He looked like he was attending a funeral. Emma, he said warmly, as if they were meeting for lunch instead of a murder. You look beautiful. Terror suits you, Tyler. Emma's voice was steadier than she felt. Interesting location choice. Tyler's smile widened. Nathan's warehouse seemed poetic. The hunter becomes the hunted and all that. His eyes shifted to Nathan. I assume you brought back up? Just me? Nathan replied. As requested, of course. You did, because you're honorable. Noble. Everything I'm not. Do you know what this place used to be, Emma? Before Nathan bought it and let it rot. Emma said nothing, but she could feel Nathan tensing beside her. A photography studio, Tyler continued. Romano Photography's first location, where I learned my craft, where I discovered my true calling. His eyes glittered with malicious joy. Nathan didn't just buy my business, Emma. He bought my history, my art, my legacy. Your legacy is for dead women, Nathan said flatly. My legacy is immortality. Tyler moved to one of his cameras, adjusting the angle slightly. Every photograph captures a moment that would otherwise be lost forever. But death photographs capture the exact moment a soul leaves its body. The precise instant when everything that makes a person human simply stops existing. Emma felt sick. You're insane. I'm an artist. There's a difference. Tyler's voice hardened. Now, let's get started. Emma, please take a seat. No. Tyler's pleasant mask slipped for just a moment, revealing the monster underneath. I wasn't asking. Nathan stepped forward. The deal was that you take your pictures and turn yourself in. No one has to die. Tyler laughed. Nathan, you brilliant, naive man. Did you really think I was going to honor that deal? Did you honestly? Believe I'd give up my life's work just because you asked nicely? The police are already on their way, Nathan said. This is over.
Are they?
Tyler pulled out his phone and played an audio recording. Nathan's voice filled the warehouse. Canceled the police response.
Else.
False alarm. My security system malfunctioned. Emma stared at Nathan in horror. You called them off? I had to, Nathan. Said if they showed up, Tyler would have killed you and disappeared. This was the only way to what? Get me killed more efficiently. Tyler clapped his hands slowly. Bravo. The truth comes out at last. Nathan Cross, the great manipulator, reveals his true colors. He moved closer to Emma, his camera clicking as he captured her expression. Tell her the rest, Nathan. Tell her about the insurance policy. Nathan's face had gone pale. Tyler, don't. Tell her. Tyler's voice echoed off the warehouse walls. Nathan closed his eyes. If you die tonight, Emma, your flower shop goes to Cross Industries. I had the paperwork drawn up this afternoon. Emma felt the world tilt around her. What? Your grandmother's will had a clause? If you die without heirs, the property reverts to the original owner's estate. I bought that estate 6 months ago. You've been planning this since before we met. Emma's voice was hollow. Everything. The kiss, the coffee, bringing me to your apartment. All of it was just to get your hands on my shop. It started that way, Nathan said desperately. But Emma, what happened between us? What happened? Between us was a lie. Emma turned to face Tyler. Both of you. You're both monsters. Tyler's camera clicked again. Finally. The moment of perfect despair. When hope dies and rage is born, he lowered the camera. You're learning, Emma. Men like us we don't love. We take, we consume, we possess. I'm nothing like you, Nathan snarled. Aren't you? You killed 7 people building your fortune, Nathan? Industrial accidents, convenient suicides, unfortunate overdoses. Tyler's smile was razor sharp. Did you think I wouldn't research my business partner? Emma felt the last piece of her world crumble. 7 people? Nathan's silence was answer enough. So now you know, Tyler said gently. You're trapped between 2 killers, Emma. One who kills for art and one who kills for money. The only difference is that I'm honest about what I am. Emma looked between them. Nathan, with his expensive suit and haunted eyes. Tyler, with his camera and predatory smile. 2 sides of the same coin. 2 different flavors of the same poison. You're right, she said quietly. You're both monsters. She pulled the knife from her purse. The blade was small but sharp. A ceramic craft knife she'd been using to cut flower stems for years. Both men froze, their eyes locked on the weapon in her trembling hand. Emma, Nathan said carefully, what are you doing? What I should have done the moment I learned the truth. Emma's voice was steady despite the tears streaming down her face. You want to know what I figured out while you 2 were comparing body counts? You're both so focused on each other that you forgot about me. Tyler raised his camera. This is perfect. The victim becomes the Emma moved faster than either man expected. The knife flashed through the air, not toward Tyler, but toward the nearest photography light. Sparks exploded as the blade severed the electrical cord, plunging a quarter of the warehouse into darkness. Run, she shouted, diving behind a stack of shipping crates as Tyler's camera flashed like lightning. Nathan reacted first, tackling Tyler and sending them both crashing into the photography equipment. Tyler's camera shattered against the concrete floor, but he managed to roll away from Nathan's grab. You destroyed my art, Tyler screamed, pulling a gun from inside his jacket. Emma kept moving, using the maze of equipment and shadows to stay ahead of both men. Her phone was still recording, but now she needed to survive long enough for the recording to matter. Tyler fired twice. The bullets sparked off concrete and steel, filling the air with the acrid smell of gunpowder. Emma could hear Nathan and Tyler fighting somewhere in the darkness, their grunts and curses echoing off the walls. Then she heard Tyler laugh. Nathan? Tyler's voice carried clearly through the warehouse. Look what I found. Emma peered around a corner and saw Tyler standing over Nathan's still form. Blood pooled beneath Nathan's head, dark as oil in the harsh light. He's not dead, Tyler called out. But he will be if you don't come out, Emma. You have 10 seconds to decide who dies first. Emma closed her eyes. The phone in her pocket was still recording. She thought about the 4 women Tyler had killed, about Nathan's sister, about all the people who would die if Tyler walked away tonight. She stepped into the light. "Good girl," Tyler said, keeping his gun trained on Nathan's unconscious form. "Now drop the knife." Emma let the ceramic blade clatter to the floor. "Excellent. Now, where were we?" Smiled. "Oh yes, the final photograph." He raised his camera. With one hand, gun still pointed at Nathan with the other. The camera clicked. The flash illuminated Emma's face as she smiled. "You're right, Tyler, that was perfect." Tyler lowered the camera, confused. "What?" Emma held up her phone. The final photograph. The moment a killer realizes he's been recording his own confession for the past 20 minutes.
Tyler's face went
white. You little the warehouse doors exploded inward as police flooded the building. Red and blue lights strobed through the broken windows, and Emma had never been so happy to hear someone shout police. "Drop your weapons." Tyler spun toward the sound, and Emma saw her chance. She dove for the ceramic knife, sliding across the concrete floor as Tyler's gun swung back toward her. The gunshot was impossibly loud in the enclosed space. Emma hit the ground hard, the knife spinning away from her grasp. Pain bloomed in her shoulder, but she was alive. She's still alive. Tyler Wasson stood behind him, a smoking gun in his hand and murder in his blue eyes. Tyler's body crumpled to the floor, his camera finally silent. "Nathan," Emma whispered. He looked at her, and she saw something break behind his eyes. The man who had bought her business, planned her death, and lied about everything was gone. What remained looked almost human. "The recording," he said quietly. "Did you get it all?" Emma nodded, clutching her wounded shoulder. "Everything. Tyler's confession. Your confession. All of it." Nathan smiled sadly. "Good, that's good." The police were surrounding them now, shouting orders and training weapons. Nathan let his gun fall to the floor and raised his hands. Emma rose. He called out as the officers moved in. "For what it's worth, the part where I fell in love with you wasn't part of the plan." Emma watched them lead Nathan away in handcuffs, her blood soaking into the concrete floor. She believed him. She just wasn't sure it mattered anymore. 6 months later. Emma stood in the courthouse hallway, her shoulder aching despite the physical therapy. The scar would never fully fade, but neither would the memory of Tyler's final desperate shot. The bullet had missed everything vital, which the doctor called lucky. Emma called it fate. Nathan's trial had lasted 3 weeks. The prosecution painted him as a cold-blooded killer who had used Emma as bait in his revenge scheme. The defense argued he was a grieving brother, driven too desperate. Measures by a broken system that couldn't protect innocent women. Emma's recording had changed everything. Tyler's confession to 4 murders. Nathan's admission of corporate killings. The web of lies and manipulation that had brought them all together in that warehouse. It was all there, captured in digital clarity that no lawyer could dispute. But the recording had also captured something else. The moment when Nathan chose to save Emma's life, instead of securing his own freedom. The gunshot that ended Tyler Romano's killing spree forever. The jury deliberated for 18 hours. Guilty on 7 counts of manslaughter. Not guilty on the charge of first-degree murder. Nathan would spend the next 20 years in prison. Tyler Romano was finally, permanently dead. Emma should have felt justice, closure, peace. Instead, she felt hollow. Miss Rose. Emma turned to find Nathan's lawyer approaching. Margaret Chen was sharp as a blade and twice as cutting, but she'd fought harder for Nathan than anyone had expected. "The sentencing is next week," Margaret said. "Nathan asked me to give you this." She handed Emma a thick manila envelope. Emma's name was written across the front in Nathan's careful handwriting. "What is it?" "I don't know." He sealed it himself. Margaret studied Emma's face. "Are you planning to be there?" "For the sentencing?" Emma had been asking herself the same question for weeks. "I don't know. He hasn't asked for any other visitors. Just you." Emma stared at the envelope. 6 months ago, she would have torn it open immediately. Now, she wasn't sure she wanted to know what Nathan Cross had left to say to her. She went home to her flower shop instead. Petals and Dreams had survived the scandal. Barely. The story had made national news for a week. Local florist survives. Stalker exposes corporate killer. Emma's phone had rung constantly with interview requests and book deal offers. She'd turned them all down. Some stories weren't meant to be sold. The shop felt different now, smaller, more fragile. Emma had installed new locks, a security system, and bulletproof glass in the front windows. The changes had been practical. Necessary. They had also destroyed the cozy sanctuary her grandmother had created. Emma sat behind the counter and opened Nathan's envelope with shaking hands. Inside were 3 items: a cashier's check for $2 million, a deed transferring ownership of Cross Industries to the Victoria Cross, Foundation for Domestic Violence Prevention, and a letter. Emma, by the time you read this, I'll be beginning a prison sentence that I've earned 10 times over. I won't insult your intelligence by claiming I'm innocent, and I won't waste your time with apologies that can't undo what I've done. Instead, I want to tell you what you saved. Not just your own life, though that matters more to me than my freedom. Ever could, you saved me from becoming something even worse than I already was. You reminded me that love isn't possession. It isn't control. It isn't taking what you want and calling it devotion. Love is sacrifice. Love is choosing someone else's well-being over your own desires. Love is letting go, and holding on would cause more pain. I love you, Emma Rose, which is why I'm not asking you to wait for me. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to remember me as anything other than a cautionary tale about what happens when grief turns to poison. I'm asking you to live. The money is clean. Profits from legitimate business deals made before I became a killer. Use it to rebuild your shop. Travel the world. Start a family. Do whatever makes you happy. Foundation will ensure that other women like you, like Victoria, have resources and protection that we couldn't provide. Maybe some good can come from all this destruction. Tyler is dead. I'm in prison. You're free. Don't waste that freedom on a ghost. With love and regret, Nathan P. S. There's one more thing in the envelope, something that belongs to you. Emma reached into the envelope again and found a small velvet box. Inside was a ring, not an engagement ring or a promise ring, but something far more precious. Her grandmother's wedding band. The ring that should have been buried with Grandma Rose, but had mysteriously disappeared from the funeral home. The ring Emma had searched for, frantically convinced she'd lost the last piece of her family history. Nathan had stolen it. Months before they'd met, it's probably when he was researching her property records and planning his acquisition of her shop. He'd kept it through everything. The lies, the manipulation, the warehouse, the trial, and now he was giving it back. Emma slipped the ring onto her finger and felt something settle in her chest. Not forgiveness exactly, not love either. Something more complex and difficult to name. Acceptance, maybe. Understanding that people could be multiple things at once. Monster and protector. Killer and savior. Enemy and beloved. The truth wasn't simple. It never had been. Emma closed the shop early and drove to the prison. Nathan looked smaller in his orange jumpsuit. Prison had carved away the polish and sophistication, leaving something more honest underneath. His blue eyes were the same, though. They lit up when he saw her through the bulletproof glass. "You came," he said, his voice crackling through the intercom. "I came," Emma confirmed. She held up her hand, showing him her grandmother's ring. "Thank you." Nathan's smile was soft and genuine. "It was never mine to keep." They sat in silence for a moment, studying each other through the barrier between them. Emma thought about all the things she could say, should say. The accusations, and forgiveness, and questions that had been eating at her for 6 months. Instead, she said, "Tell me about Victoria." Nathan's expression transformed. For the next hour, he told Emma stories about his sister, her terrible cooking, her habit of rescuing stray cats, her dream of opening a free clinic in their hometown, her laugh that could fill an entire room with joy. He told Emma about the woman Victoria had been, not the victim she'd become. When visiting time ended, Emma pressed her palm against the glass. Nathan matched the gesture from his side, their hands separated by inches and a lifetime of choices that couldn't be undone. "Will you visit again?" he asked. Emma considered the question seriously. "I don't know. Maybe someday." "That's more than I deserve." "It's not about what you deserve, Nathan. It's about what I can live with." Nathan nodded. "I hope you find happiness, Emma Rose. Real happiness. It's a kind that doesn't require anyone else to suffer. I hope you find peace." Emma left the prison and drove home through the autumn afternoon. The trees were turning gold and crimson, and the air carried the promise of winter. Change was coming, as it always did. At her shop, Emma unlocked the door and breathed in the scent of roses and eucalyptus. The bulletproof glass caught the light strangely, but the flowers remained beautiful, fragile and temporary and perfect. She had work to do. Arrangements to create.
Stories to tell with nature's colors.
Emma Rose was 26 years old. She had survived a stalker, exposed a killer, and learned that love was the most dangerous and necessary force in the universe. She was alive. She was free. She was ready to begin again. Outside, the first snow of the season began to fall, covering the city in quiet white. Emma turned on the shop lights, arranged fresh flowers in the window display, and unlocked the door for anyone brave enough to believe in beauty after witnessing horror. Some people would call her naive. Others would say she was strong. Emma knew. She was simply human, with all the contradictions that implied, and for the first time in months, that felt like enough. The end.